Good. I'd like to call the March 13th, 2025 Planning Board session to order. And may we have a roll call, please, Gloria?
Chair LaFaro.
Present.
Vice Chair Finity is absent. Secretary is here. Board Member Mutu.
Present.
Board Member Neely.
Present.
Board Member Fulham.
Present.
Board Member Glazer.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Yes.
Great. Please join us for a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have any minutes to approve?
Yes. February 13 and February 27.
13 and 27, motion to accept those by George, second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
So we are up to date.
Great. Okay, let's start with the agenda. By the way, item number 8 is off the agenda. Rabbit Hole Restaurant. Okay, Teresa?
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. Next week, next session, the table mics will be changed also. So
Great.
move.
So this is the two-lot subdivision on Norris Lane, 173 Norris LLC. These are lots that are somewhat oversized for the zoning district. We had a public hearing for the application on February 25th. Or, I'm sorry, that's not correct, February 13th. And this is the review of the draft report. We are still waiting back for some referral comments. So the report will be finalized for review and adoption at the next meeting, but just to go over some of the concerns and comments. So it's a type 2 action pursuant to SECRA, no additional SECRA is required. It's a 2-lot subdivision, and we are recommending that the park fee of $2,500 be paid because it was previously improved with a structure. There were no public comments during the public hearing, nor during the 10-day written comment period. We are still waiting again for some comments from the various interested agencies that we sent referrals to. So we received comments from the fire marshal's office, just mainly their standard comments, ensuring that the driveways are built to town code standards. We also received comments from the fire district stating that they had no concerns for recommendations for this parcel at the moment. Engineering did recommend providing a covenant that required 3-inch rainfall for all future impervious surfaces, but did recommend recommend approval at this time. Conservation Board had several comments, including that several of the large trees were cut pursuant to the building permit for proposed Lot 1. They are recommending that we call for the installation of street trees, preferably native street trees. The best alternative would most likely be red maple. We're waiting on, we got comments for the highway superintendent who indicated that driveway drainage approval would be required. We're still waiting on various comments from the Trails Advisory landmarks, which is really not applicable. That's just part of the form. The Bridgehampton CAC Health Department provided some comments here requiring some revisions prior to final approval. And then we have our recommendations here on the last part of the application. One concern is that the applicant is proposing 5 driveway entrances for 2 lots. Lot 1 will have 3 driveway entrances. Lot 2 will have 2. That seems to be an excessive number of driveway entrances, and you should consider whether or not you want to allow that many driveway entrances on Norris Road, especially where it is kind of a curve, a slow curve here. It is adjacent to the historic Edgewood Cemetery, which is listed as a critical environmental area. It's not in a critical environmental area, but the historic cemetery is. So you should consider whether or not you want to have screening provided for the cemetery from the structures. The double row of fencing should be eliminated on the rear of both parcels. The covenant for the 3-inch rainfall should be provided, and then the capture of the driveways in accordance with the highway superintendent requirements. And then just the main one here, besides the number of driveways, is the planting of street trees.
Right. Can we get the site plan? Do you have that?
I don't,
Okay.
So,
Let's talk about the driveways.
the driveway, sure. Just for the record, we have no issues with 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Mike, can you identify yourself, please?
Carl Benacasa, 860 Montauk Highway, Watermill, New York, for the applicant. On number 7, it was lot 2 that had the trees removed, and they were happy to restore it. It was the northern lot. There has been no destruction of the trees to lot 1. So we would note that, but we are willing to plant on lot 2 as you recommend. And then on the driveways. So,
Could you hold it up so
Sure.
and show us where the driveways would be?
You can
so
see them.
1, 2, 3 for lot 1, which is
Okay.
currently under construction, and then 1, 2 for lot 2.
Okay.
Which is existing,
No.
No, it's not
not
existing.
existing. Okay.
lot 1 has building permits in line with these 3 driveways. So that's something to consider. They've already been issued building permits for those driveways. Lot 2, I would also note that there's lot area sufficient for 5 lots, and we're doing 2. This health department limitations would allow us 3 lots. Again, we're doing 2. Lot 2 was pre-existing barn. There was a barn structures and a home in the north, and that had 2 to 3 driveways. So the southern portion, again, I was just asked in considering this that the planning board factor in that these are as reduced lots, as reduced yield plan. That this has been approved by the building department in this configuration currently, and that this actually had 3 points of access and now is going down to 2.
I think if you were to eliminate on lot 1,
The driveway to the accessory structure?
a driveway to the accessory structure, and also, I mean, there's only one driveway in that you need to come in and go
Well,
out.
the accessory is pretty necessary to get back there.
But it's an
But
accessory
an
structure.
accessory
Yeah, but
structure,
we
is it a
can-
barn or,
It's
It's a basketball house.
well,
they want access, vehicular access to that. If
Then
there's
why
any-
don't you create vehicular access from your existing driveway instead of a
Over
separate
the
driveway?
septic?
You can do that.
I mean,
You
the
need
health
traffic
department
barrier
doesn't like
covers.
that. I don't know, we prefer not to do that.
yeah, but bottom line, Carl, is that it's a lot of driveways on a small road. Norris Lane is small, and there's also a curve at that point where they're exiting. So I think you really need to talk to your applicant and eliminate several of them.
Okay,
You don't need 2 on lot 1 in the front.
those,
You-
get rid of these 2.
Yeah, exactly.
They can walk to the basketball court.
Get some exercise.
Athletes?
Yes, I think we all are.
Technically, yes.
Okay, so he'll talk to his applicant to eliminate those 2, and maybe the basketball.
Right, and then we'll bring this back next week for
Okay.
formal adoption. Again, we're still waiting on some comments, but if we don't receive them by next week, we'll.
What did the
we'll send them.
Bridgehampton Civic have to say?
We haven't received any comments from them yet.
Okay, great. And the trees, the street trees are okay.
So we're waiting on adopting this.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. It'll be at the next meeting.
And you'll have more,
And Carl, I think you addressed this with the site plan, but the 40,000 square foot lot can't be subdivided into 2 20,000 square foot lots in the future, right?
Well, we
Well,
can,
there'll be a covenant preventing that.
Okay,
And the health department limits, is 40,000, in this zone, you can only have 1 home per 40,000. So you can only have 3 max to begin with, regardless of lot of the yield under zoning. But we would have a covenant that prevented future subdivision. So you'd be limited to 2.
excuse me.
thanks.
All right, thank you.
thank you. Thanks, Carl. We'll bring it back next session,
Okay.
27. Okay, John Peter Lauren Prenna, that is you. How are you, Joe? For the record, give us your,
Joe Lombardi from the Rainer Group, 860 Montauk Highway, Watermill.
This is the 2-lot subdivision that, 2899 New York Road. We had a pretty healthy review at the last meeting.
yes, we
Today
did.
is the action deadline. So So if you'd like, I could just go over the areas we revised. Everything
Okay.
else is pretty straightforward. It's all at the back, page 4, I believe. It's all within the recommendations. So number 1, I clarified that there were 2 existing curb cuts due to the U-shaped driveway, not 1. And the second lot would be adding a 3rd curb cut. And the removal of the easterly curb cut.
Can we get that up on the?
Okay. It's 20, okay.
This is the property?
Yep, so there's a U-shaped driveway.
Just enlarge it if you can, please, thanks.
The board made the recommendation to remove the second existing curb cut.
Right, good.
And still consider potentially a shared common access driveway. But I did call out the easterly curb cut, if you agree with that, or? we could
One or
just-
the other,
One or the
right?
other, we could leave it so it's either.
What do you think, Tom? Do you have from a traffic look on that horseshoe?
There's a curve there,
East
so
or the
maybe
west?
get rid of the easterly one, I think.
Yeah,
The rationale is that the flag strip was along the east property line, so
Oh.
creating as much distance between the 2 driveways, but
and I think we talked last time, there isn't a telephone pole or anything obstructing the view, but I don't know. quite
There is a
how's the
telephone
line
pole
is-
near there, but it isn't obstructing the view.
Right.
I spoke with the applicant yesterday. He has no problem with closing down that horseshoe shape so that there's just one entrance.
One entrance.
on that
Did he have a
lot.
preference, Joe?
He would like the eastern portion.
Oh, that's very nice, Anthony. How did you get that whole picture?
It's a secret.
And he's not telling anybody.
You can do Google Street View on
Google
the
Street
program,
View.
yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it's good.
So, anyway, that's the one that will just continue the vegetation, the hedge or arborvitae that he has there.
And it looks set back, the shrubbery looks set back, right?
Right.
Okay. So that's resolved.
okay. Number 4, I removed the previous note about the recommendations of the cluster plan to allow more flexibility for the building envelope and just kept the 25-foot conservation buffer along the northernmost property line, so way up above, up here. At the top of the
Okay,
parcel.
this is, there's a wetland here, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
dark-
all in that sort of, that area.
Right. But we figured out that just a normal 2-lot subdivision would also preserve the northern portion of that.
Yeah, it was almost
Unimpeded.
25% already, it was about 24, so we added the buffer
Okay.
to just close
So
out that.
25 plus the buffer.
Plus the 100-foot,
So where would it
the
come down to?
Department of
Just a little south of that, below the wetland?
Do wetlands come on the property or are they off
Yeah, a
the
little
property?
bit where
So a
it's
little bit
off
comes
the
on the property. It's somewhere in here, I think. So there's a 100-foot setback off of that, which establishes
oh,
the
does that
buffer.
show the building? Oh, okay.
This is the 100-foot setback.
Oh, he's got it.
So good.
That's the 100-foot.
Okay, so the second lot then will be south of that.
It'll be
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
The
The buildable area.
yeah, good,
I remember
okay,
that from the original
okay.
public hearing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's the change.
A lot of it.
That's, and then, I think that's it. Oh, no, number 7, I just clarified that the, phase 1A, 1B
Is on the second lot.
too.
Okay, Joe, any questions on that?
Not at all.
Okay, any questions from the board? Can I have a motion to adopt this by Kate, second by Gloria, all in favor? Opposed, abstentions? 6 in favor, 1 absent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Anthony, your 1052 Noyak Path, Hamlet of Watermill.
Yep, we're going to do an extension of the action deadline until March 27th. I have a meeting with the applicant next week. If just so the board knows, this is one where we're looking to do a 2-lot subdivision. It's a 5-acre zone. It also requires a covenant amendment because this was part of a subdivision that was done in the 80s. There's already an existing common driveway. There's also slope easements that were put here. If you look, the driveway itself couldn't actually come in through the flag strip because the slopes are bad in there. So they cut over this property instead and come down here. There's an easement over here. There's all this is going on in there. So I have to sit down with the applicant and figure out what's going on.
How to get into it,
I
right?
don't have an answer yet. So, and this common driveway serves the lots down here and you know, the lot's up here, so there's a lot going on. So we'll extend this.
So that common driveway was never installed?
It was installed. It was done as part of a driveway plan in '89 that was approved, but it includes an easement over this property, which has been preserved anyway, because they couldn't come in through the flag strip because of slope, so
Got it.
there's a lot.
Okay, so we're extending
Extension to
this to
327.
327, motion by Gloria, and second by Kate, all in favor?
Anthony, can they actually
Six
still
in,
get
six in,
access? to
six in
property?
favor, one absent.
The existing driveway.
Okay.
Noyak Path is a trustee road, right?
Yes, or certain parts of it are actually, but yeah. It just means they're gonna have to do road work in there at some point. yes.
Right, they go to road review, right?
Correct.
Claire? Watermill Building Supply, consider the draft report.
Yes, so we went over this actually 2 times, but we had the applicant come up. We were kind of stuck on the issue of the access to the property, and we realized that we would just need a traffic, them to provide some kind of traffic study on the property. We would hire someone to analyze that at the time of the site plan application, or the secret.
Right.
There's additional chairs on
The applicant also was willing to reconsider the size of the building, so they've got new plans for you.
Great.
13,000 square feet.
So it came down from that by
Yeah.
2,000 square
Yes.
feet, great,
And we
that's
have
good.
the revised circulation plans that were requested as well.
Okay, we'll pass them out, just give them to me.
What I need to be the latest.
Are we using the report from last week?
You have that fresh
You have
one.
fresh ones?
I actually
Okay.
referred to that, if you want to pass this down, it's a pre-app report.
And what we did as well, we moved the proposed, for the existing driveway.
Yeah.
As we had talked about how the DOT is gonna require it moved over.
Okay, hang on,
Sure, sure,
okay,
sorry.
just identify yourself for the
Sorry.
record, please.
Ron Hill,
From,
myself.
from
Easy on
Mr.
Hill.
Hill
Easy on-
Esquire.
Rob Pichetti, Vernon Pichetti, 320 Hampton Road, Southampton, attorney for the applicant.
Sorry.
So we have site plan and
Site plan and subdivision.
subdivision.
Right, so more of the site plan issues that we were kind of going over the last time, but they did give me a heads up about the reduced 13,000 square feet, so I changed the references in these reports.
Excellent,
And I just kind of left that, question mark about access.
Okay.
2 and 5 were the 2 alternatives considered, that they would prefer, 2, and then you were,
Right, so we-
5, so.
so we have a revised plan for 2, and
Yes, and for 5, showing the,
And-
2 shows the driveway moved over on the existing driveway.
let me get these, okay. So which one should we be looking at? I have,
Well, so we
oh,
have.
I have 2 sets here, okay.
Yes, those are just the updated ones, the other ones haven't changed since last week.
I have just one set, and is it
Oh, yes,
set?
they're stapled together, one is 2 and one is 5, but they're stapled together.
Everybody have
You just have
everything?
extras, Jackie.
I have extras, do you need them?
No, we're good.
Okay, good, all right. So walk us through,
Yes, so in number 2, so we have moved over the existing driveway on the west side of the property to account for the DOT's requirement. I guess it was the flare was getting too close
Was
to the-
encroaching,
to
yeah.
the other neighbor. So we've changed that, and then there's also an island there and directions for right turn out only, and then an entrance
good,
island, lane. And then we have similar turn limitations on the new proposed entrance on the east side, opposite Rose Hill Road. And Ron did have some comments on, based on the reduction in the building size of the new
Size of the building gets reduced, so the trip generation numbers from ITE also changed. And, I still have that
Look at it, Ron.
discussion, which I've added to the bottom about how we didn't use ITE for the Saturday volume because we think this is a business that caters more to contractors, and it doesn't see your typical retail bump on Saturday. And for Saturday, we used the peak hour of the generator during the week, which is the highest weekly volume. And you can see that now we're less than 40 trips. And when you divide it up into directions or between entering and exit, we're talking about less than 20 trips. So I don't know if doing a full study where we're looking at adjacent intersections is going to be meaningful because we're adding so little traffic to basically the through movements, which will be the predominant. You know, we can focus more on the site. And what I propose is that I put together an assessment based on that and the trip generation. And I'll look at the accidents, I've ordered them. And we'll see what we get, and I'll try and get that in. Hopefully the accidents will come in, we'll get that in a week or so. Forward it to your traffic reviewer and let him judge if further work should be done.
Just based on your comments,
Yeah.
I think it's speculative to say that this is just going to be a business for trade. It could be
Well,
the plumbing
it's
place to go
not-
to.
It's not just, I'm saying it's.
But you've reduced the Saturday. I'm just addressing that. You know,
Well,
you've based your numbers
Yes,
on an assumption that there'll be a lot less traffic on Saturday than there would be during the week. And I'm saying that that's speculative. We don't know that.
we could.
So I don't know,
We
Tom,
could
how
we could count a building, Ferguson, which is what this is supposed to be, and use that. I know going by there's not much going on Saturday. In fact, they close at noon. I mean, if you want that verification, that we can do.
I think that would be helpful.
Okay.
So a count of.
Because you're
Ferguson-
pulling people here customers from East Hampton, from Bridgehampton, Watermill. I mean, it's a good location.
It's a good location, but you have, for instance, you have Ferguson in Southampton. You have plumbing supply places in East Hampton. I suppose it depends on who gets the best price, but it also depends on contractors working in a house. If he needs something, then he's going to go to the quickest place he can pick it up, which actually cuts down the amount of use on the road.
What are the store hours for Saturday?
I don't know if I can't.
Right
answer.
now, they're 7 to 2. For Saturday, 7 to 2.
And what is it now?
7 to 2.
Right. It's the same.
Yeah. Yep.
So would the board be willing to consider the numbers from Ferguson as sort of an indicator of what direction to take the traffic?
I don't know.
paths?
Tom, what do you think? I mean, there's also the electric supply company on 39.
Yeah, there is, but that's kind of a different business. I think there's more retail activity in that because I do more electrical work than I'll chance with plumbing.
But you have residential items. You will have
Oh,
residents. I mean, they're
yeah,
they're
no,
there
there's no
now.
question
Yes,
about
correct.
Yes, we're-
Faucets and grab
it's not
bars.
exclusively contractors, no, it's not.
No.
that. No, and we've never said that. I just, what I tried to say the last time is like, you look at the uses, look at Riverhead Building Supply. There's a lot of other stuff other than lumber. They have paint, they have some garden tools, they have a lot of tools. I know myself, I may go there, once or twice a month, once every other month or so. Revco Electric, I do most of my own electric, but I still only go there maybe once a year, maybe twice. And plumbing, I leave that to the plumber. I'll do some small stuff, but I can tell you I haven't been to Ferguson Blackman in probably 5
Well,
years.
but that's you, Mr. Hill. You know.
I think
I
that's
think it can be tricky to make a speculation that people will come on a Saturday.
Right,
Not to
but-
say that your numbers, the way you've adjusted them, are incorrect, but this is a very key part of 27. And-
I'd say it's probably, I'm out of use those places more than most people. Because probably half your seasonal community, and they're not doing their own stuff.
I think a lot of that Saturday traffic we already have coming into the existing store,
Yeah.
which is not, there's going to be a bit of an overlap here where, it's going to be a lot of the same customers or a lot of the same,
I
sort
would
of
think so,
people.
because they know you're there.
Yeah, so it's
But
not
what-
necessarily a fresh set of people. I think there will be a degree of overlap in there as well.
But let's look at Ferguson, which is plumbing supply. And I don't think we should be looking at an electrical supply because I think it's just different.
Well, in order for us to evaluate the traffic impact, Claire, you're recommending that we have someone look at this, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I think so. Whether you do it as a level of a full-on study with counts and things like that, or I think he's more saying more of like an analysis.
Yeah.
But we also could get someone to look at that too.
Right.
So it's either
Okay.
I
way.
just feel like that scope.
And you're
makes a
gonna
little
have an
more sense.
accident report, you said?
I hope so. I've ordered them.
Okay.
Yeah, and how much more of an impact than the current operations? How much traffic? What's the traffic generation?
We'd have to do a count on it, but if it's probably, I'd say it's probably what's there now because of all what's going on is probably 20% higher, 30% higher. It's higher. There's no question that the existing building is generating more.
Okay.
And we definitely want to, gather that information and present it to the board to help make a decision. We just thought that the full traffic study was just a little bigger scope than was maybe necessary here. So if we can limit it to an analysis like this, where we're comparing to other buildings and helping that to using that information to help the board make their decision instead of maybe gathering more information than needed in a full traffic study, I guess that's what we're really looking for, if that's possible.
I think if we get the accident report information, that may impact what we think.
Okay.
If there's a whole lot of accidents, then maybe
Understood.
that changes
That's fair.
the scope of the traffic study.
So I made a point to go by this property quite a bit, and there are these panel trucks, special trade contractors, that come out and go left. They stop the traffic. I don't know, you made some very interesting calculations that every time the traffic is stopped, it increases something by 5 minutes.
The rule of thumb I was taught is, you stop traffic for a minute, it causes a 5-minute delay
Backup, right.
backup.
So that's an issue here in terms of flow and safety on Montauk Highway. And we're taking a pretty keen look at it.
I mean, I think looking at Ferguson is, I don't know how big that store is, but I think it's
25,000.
Yeah, it's bigger than this one's proposed.
Yeah,
to
it's
be.
quite a bit bigger.
And I know there's a small plumbing supply store in Waynescott. I don't know that that's, comparable at all.
They're closed.
but they're closed.
Yeah.
Okay, that
We're good?
I think so.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
And I will very subjectively say, I kind of see, Ron's line of thought on this and being a kind of grade C, do-it-yourself or myself. I think, I learned early on, be careful about plumbing. So I think there is a little bit of logic here behind what you're saying.
You will have an expanded line of products, though, in this building, correct?
Excuse me?
You'll have an expanded line of
Yes,
product line.
correct. But again, as an overlap, there is all, this point, plumbing in the existing buildings, so we're not without plumbing customers coming to
No,
the
I know
existing
that. I've been one of the customers.
sorry.
Yes.
And you're right, and you'll be getting contractors, of course, lots of them in there. And I do, Jackie, I think your point, when you guys, I'm sure know better than we do, but knowing pretty much where your general competitors are, that Watermill, Bridgehampton, North Sea, obviously you got, Riverhead Building Supply to the east and to the west. You guys kind of have a nice niche there
Yes.
in the Watermill, Bridgehampton corridor. So most of it, I would guess, is east, which means, maybe coming lefts out of there. But again, it's somewhat, subjective, but I think, logical. Okay. I think the eastern entrance looks like it's pretty clear, works well, and you want to direct your truck traffic there, which makes sense, and there clearly have to be some signage at your western driveway truck entrance, this way,
Yes.
to the other. Now, the arrow to go in, and I see this is for passenger vehicle parking area or something like that. So, or wait, I'm sorry. I'm
Tom, are
looking
you
at
on 2 or 5?
the- I'm-
Two.
I'm on
The
number
first one.
2,
Okay,
the first and the west driveway.
okay.
The arrow going in is a little angled, but you don't intend that to be no lefts in there, or do you intend that to be no lefts in there, or is it just?
We intended to leave it both lefts and rights in.
Okay, so
Yeah, I
the
think the
angling
angle
is
is
just, right,
Yeah,
I
not
just wanted
intentional, yeah.
to make sure, yeah. And then, so it'd be the same at the eastern entrance, both entrances would have lefts in and,
Yeah,
Yes.
lefts and rights in.
And
from-
effectively, we're netting out to only the same amount of lefts out as we have now.
But the west one will direct trucks to the east one.
Yes.
I think the bigger trucks, the ones that bring the product out, are all tractor trailers, and they'll make a left in and make a right out. It's the other ones, the delivery trucks and the contractors' trucks. And I would think a higher there'll be more right turns than left turns there, just because it's a more difficult move to make a left turn. And you can wind your way behind, into North Watermill by going up Deerfield.
And anybody coming out of the rear yard is going to be coming up to that exit that has a right-only exit. In order to get to the left exit, you gotta go through the parking lot.
Gotta go
So
around.
you're most likely to just exit where you are and take a right out.
The fact that you've, been listening very well and we've had good discussions and you've got this to one left out, I think is is a good thing.
Could you clarify, Mr. Hill, the numbers here for Saturday? This
Yeah.
is projected numbers, it has nothing to do with today, reality for today.
This is just the projected
Right.
new traffic.
And do you have any idea how this compares to today's Saturday traffic
At the,
at the current site?
No.
No.
we can,
Do you know?
we can count that.
Not in numbers, but we're not nearly as busy on Saturdays, just revenue wise.
Be interesting to know. I
That's
know
what I was
you-
saying, if you mine your POS data, you can see the number of transactions
I
that
know
you had,
exactly
and
how much.
presumably.
If I did, I could probably tell you, percentage wise, how much further down we are on Saturdays versus Monday through Friday, if that would help.
Well, revenue isn't like the trip,
What's
right?
that?
Revenue isn't
Right.
the trip, because each transaction's a variable, but
But it would give you an indication that there's less people coming in and out of the property if we're doing less sales.
right,
Maybe
because you
what
have number of
can you do the
transactions
number of
equals number of
transactions?
trips.
Yeah.
Not the value of the transaction.
Right.
Because I could come
I
in
could
and
do
buy
it in-
$5
Yeah.
washer or,
Yeah, I
you
could
know,
do
It
it-
might,
yeah,
it might be
I
good
could
to
do
look at
transactions.
both, and
Yeah.
we'll throw that in the traffic.
That way,
Yeah.
if Saturday people buy more
big
expensive
order is gonna
things,
skew
there's
it.
not that.
Yeah, or
Right.
the other way,
How many
contractors may buy a lot
Right.
of more expensive items
I
than
would
a
think
retailer who
they're
comes
buying
in for
more
a small
bulk.
item. Either way,
Yeah,
number
you
of
get a whole lot of
transactions,
comments.
number of transactions would help, just
Alright.
to give us an idea, a quick look at what Saturday
Yeah,
looks like
good
today.
idea.
Can, with all this discussion, can you tell us the existing square footage of the existing plumbing area in your building?
The showroom or the behind the wall commodity stuff?
The plumbing, when you go through the glass doors into the
Oh,
plumbing
that's
area.
like just shy of probably 2,000 square feet.
It's
Maybe like
2,000.
1,900, 1,800,
So
something like
you're
that.
adding 10,000, 11,000 square feet.
Showroom.
Well, it's warehouse.
Oh, well,
warehouse
so, yeah,
as
sorry, the
well.
13,000 makes up warehouse and showroom at a pretty, what's the showroom is?
The showroom's
less-
about
less-
like 3,000, 3,500 square feet.
So it's almost double from what you have.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Of showroom space.
Yes.
The rest is going to be
The
for
rest of
warehouse.
the new building will be warehouse.
So there's still an increase in product line is what I'm
Oh, for
trying
sure.
to get.
Oh,
Yeah.
correct.
Yes.
Which is why
No
you're
denying
doing
that,
it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And obviously, as we talked about earlier, the extra storage space and being able to keep in stock the items that the customers want is
Yeah.
a big part of, so that's why there's so much storage in
Right,
that.
because I remember when I went in, everything had to be ordered.
Yes, so that's what they're trying to avoid, yes.
So I think you will get more retail people in there, hopefully,
Hopefully.
right?
Well, somebody's got to pay for all this, right?
That's right.
So, do you wanna look at page 2 at the pre-submission report? Because I think that's where we talk about, the traffic study, so I'm gonna change that reference to traffic analysis. We definitely want the accident data. Do you want the accident data at adjacent intersections, or you think that's overkill?
Where are you, Claire?
I'll
Number-
cover that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've already, what I've ordered is already from Deerfield to Scuttle Hole.
Where are you, Claire, on this?
Page 2, item 2. under the pre-submission
Okay.
report. Pre-submission.
Are those the preliminary planning issues?
Yes. The number 2 talks about secra, and then part of secra will ask for traffic analysis. So halfway through that paragraph, it says a traffic study, and I'm changing the language to analysis. Will be
I thought I
required.
knew where you were, and now I'm not sure which report I'm on.
Which document?
Pre-submission.
The smaller, the
Submission.
The
two-pager.
smaller, the two-pager.
Thank you.
Claire, I
Which
think
is
we're
where I
also
thought you were, but then you
gonna
said
submit
number
the,
2.
EAF form too. We'll submit that. I don't think they've filled that out yet.
That would be part of your,
I didn't get that far down in the
ZBA application.
Okay.
So traffic analysis, okay.
Yeah, and then we'll have the accident data for the area and the adjacent intersections. And then the counts is what we're like, would be usually involved with a study, but not an analysis typically. So you're gonna rely on like data that you have.
I have the DOT's counts.
Okay.
I look at that, but again, I think it's let your traffic person review it.
Mm-hmm.
And if he feels there's more need, I don't think there's any point in looking at other intersections. Because again, with the volume going through those intersections, most of it is through volume. Added to 800 cars, it's not gonna be a lot. There may be other things he wants to look at, but I don't think looking at other intersections is helpful.
Does the board look at that?
Analysis, yeah.
I think so. Well, now, we do, I'm sure it's in the previous report you gave us. This is the new volume.
That's 13.
Of course, we have to
13,000.
add it on to, or look at what the existing
Yeah.
volume is now.
Yeah.
With the existing
So-
building, yes.
Right.
Okay. And then I'm gonna include a little reference to the analysis should include like the number of transactions currently.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah,
that
that's
will be very
important.
helpful. And since you have the POS data,
So
We should-
set up the spring and fall and summer counts.
So I'll do it for like the last year.
For this
Yeah.
transactions for this project.
Yes, and the DOT counts.
And the DOT counts, yes.
If you're filtering, you might want to filter by zip code.
What's that?
When I was in I used to filter our customer base by their zip code.
Oh, we do. Yep, we have it
I
all.
figured you
Yep.
would, right.
That'd give us some direction.
Yeah, Claire
Well, that
also
would give us an
mentioned,
idea, east and
we're gonna
west.
look
All
at
right.
And you're gonna do it by day of
Ferguson's
the week?
traffic.
Yes.
Every day, weekend?
Yep, average.
Yep.
The average transactions, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Ferguson's
Thursday,
traffic.
Oh, yes, Ferguson.
Yeah.
Rob, you got that? The zip codes too?
Okay, yeah.
I think it could just, if you pull the zip codes, but then separate them into coming from the east, coming from the west,
I'll
I
just
think
do
that's
east-west.
sufficient.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
if you don't know that data, that will be interesting for you too.
What's that? Oh, we definitely have it.
But have you looked at, have you looked at it, have you used it?
Yes. We have a software for all that stuff.
Right, for the, you're gonna need this as part of your ZBA.
Right, to finish the.
With the secret, yep. Okay, so I'll change all the other references. Part of that paragraph at the beginning is that they actually did a phase 1 A and B with a previous application in 2016. It was pretty focused in on the building itself. I'm not quite sure if you want a additional phase 1B.
They didn't do the entire property
They
when they
did
did
it, it
it?
was pretty specific, I think it was 8, I looked at it, it was like 8 counts, 8 double passes on the property. So,
Big property.
it is, yeah,
And there was nothing found.
there was nothing.
I think that's probably okay,
That's
even
fine.
though it's large, I don't know how we let that,
It's pretty, they were only doing a small addition, not a small addition, it was a small separate building, right?
Yeah.
So it is,
But same general area.
so.
same general area, so.
So no
Yeah.
additional study.
I remember we used to have language in years ago when I was in planning about if they find anything during construction, they should stop and pull.
Yeah, they seem to make a general condition.
Oh, yeah, that's okay, yeah.
What is that?
If anything's found during construction, that we would.
Yeah.
I remember we had that one somewhere where they found an arrowhead and we did call Joanne in to kind of do a study of the rest of it and nothing else was found. We're putting in a dock of all things and a couple of piles we found an arrow.
So I'm gonna use terminology, if there's any prehistoric or facts, I'll take the language
Artifacts,
from the, yeah, artifacts.
Mhm.
Okay. But that'll be something that we carry out through for a site plan approval. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I
So,
think that's it.
Well, we haven't looked at 2 and 5, and we haven't looked at 5 at all.
5 is the alternative with the 1, and, I just think again, I would recommend that you just have someone with another pair of eyes look at it for you to see what, because safety wise, you would say 1 curb cut, right? But they're saying their operation of the site and safety for their operation of the site, they would need the 2, and I definitely understand both.
If you see,
Personally, I understand both, but
I think our biggest concern, or one of the biggest concerns if you're looking at number 5, is that so then all those big trucks that we're talking about are now coming through the front parking lot instead of simply exiting in a right turn out.
Right.
You know, which makes for a very difficult turn to angle to get out. And it's a lot of, dangerous traffic right in front of the building.
We'll put that in this, we'll discuss that in the study and let you review and look at it.
Because I mean, the traffic analyst
And
will be
that would
able to
be-
give us internal circulation recommendations as well.
exactly.
But also, once we see the zip code information, that's gonna tell us if the
Who's going
overwhelming
where,
percentage are going to make
Yeah.
a right, then it pays to have that second.
Well, the reduction in 2,000 square feet, reduction in the size of the building has certainly helped.
It opens up a lot of
Pushes the
flow.
building, it gives much more space along the eastern side. Are we discussing cross-access further on this at all or
They
not?
represented that there's the problem with the,
Grade?
the grade area. Again, maybe they discuss it in the traffic
Yeah, we'll
report,
put it in, we'll
and then
discuss it
we'll have a final determination when we
Okay.
have somebody.
So are you higher than the buildings to the east? Is that it?
I haven't looked.
We're lower.
I think we're
You're lower?
Yeah,
They're higher.
correct.
By much?
I think since they've been renovating, it got even worse, because I know our property's flooding a little bit more now than it used to. So I think they raised their grade, so their runoff's coming.
Shouldn't get over the retaining wall.
And is there a retaining wall there too?
Yeah, there's a retaining wall, but it runs down the whole length of the retaining wall and then out like.
Out to the side.
Yeah, and when the retaining wall
It
ends,
goes
it comes
around.
my way.
Who is
Because the
that, Claire?
drainage isn't in yet, right?
What's that?
The drainage isn't in yet.
They're not finished construction.
Yeah,
What
Yeah.
application is it?
That's got a whole business park. It's about a couple years old now.
Yeah, that's why they exit way over on.
And they've got the wetlands to the north there.
And where's their exit?
To the north on, it's got a hole over those flag strips. You see that?
Okay.
Yeah. There's one curb cut for all 3 properties.
Yeah, that goes behind the restaurant and the gas station.
Correct.
Yes, behind the
What restaurant is that?
taco place.
It's a
Yeah,
taco
that's-
place.
I'm making it sound better,
Yeah.
fancier.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it.
Sabrosa.
Sabrosa.
Yes.
Okay,
Sounds good.
so those were the 2, Claire,
Those
that
are
we have
pretty
to?
much 2 issues. We went into the rest of it. I recommend adoption of both reports and then go forward with their application.
Any other questions? So we're adopting both site plan and?
Yeah, the pre-app, I would say pre-app
Let's do
first.
2, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so adoption of the pre-application report for Watermill Building Supply. Motion by Gloria, second by Kate, all in favor. Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent. And then an adoption of the pre-submission conference report for
Yes.
Watermill Building Supply. Motion by Gloria, second by Kate, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
And that was item number 9 on our agenda.
Okay, so we've done 4 and 9.
Claire, you get a proposal for some kind of traffic review?
Sure.
Have you,
Once we get the traffic analysis, that's what we do.
thanks very much, and thanks for the reduction of 2,000 square feet.
You want?
Has this, Claire, has this gone to architectural review?
No, not yet.
You want this to have a distinctly different look, right, from the other building?
Yes, we wanted to complement the other building, but look a little different, though, yes.
Okay, no, I was just gonna. And then my next one would be David's Path, I guess, number 4.
Number
Five.
5, David's Path.
So this is a subdivision road, which is, part of, Vintage, I think it's Vintage Vines, right?
Oh, is it Vintage Vines? Yes, let me.
It's adjacent to Vintage Vines. It is a completed subdivision road, and this is the recommendation to release the maintenance bond and accept the road into the system. Everything's in order with the road.
Can we see it?
Claire, give me an address or
I
something.
know, it is,
If I put in Vintage Vines, this is what happens.
Birchwood Lane,
It's called David's Path.
southern terminus of Birchwood Lane. Does that help?
I think it's a little bit north. Sorry, it's a little, David's Path, if we put David's Path.
Is this that major subdivision that went in?
Nope, you can't put
I'm
in.
sorry, the
Vintage
road is not David's Path, it is Birchwood Lane, sorry.
I thought Birchwood was that development on the east side of the turnpike. And Vintage Divine is on the west.
Well, that's not right.
Nope, that's not right.
Okay, let me get in there.
I'm just kidding.
You want to put in the tax map number?
It's that triangular piece, no?
Yeah,
Oh,
someone give
yeah.
me a tax map number and address.
There's no tax number there?
Yeah.
31269? That's it. So it's actually a connector road. So say, as you can see the reference to David's Path there. It's just a connector road, it connects the two. So that's that portion of Birchwood. It actually should be referenced in green, but it isn't. They think it's a town road already, but it's not.
And it's, where does it initiate from?
It's very short. I want to show you. Show you the.
Yeah, if you show me, let's see where it is.
So you see my cursor?
Yep.
That's the start of it, and it ends here.
Okay,
So it was just that portion of it.
and we're releasing the bond on that.
Releasing the bond, everything's in order, Tom. And engineering has signed off on it, and I understand the highway department's signing it.
Okay, and the
And it'll
bond
go
was what?
to the town board to be
Town
brought into
board.
the road
Okay,
system.
Once all the documents come to us.
843,
it'll be accepted.
848.
Yes. You have that, Mo? Yeah.
243,848.
I have 81,299. Is that the wrong reference in there? I think I had the old one in there.
That's the number that was in the,
Yes, that was the old resolution. I updated it since then. It's $81,299.
And it's being held which way?
Is money, cash.
Okay,
Motion.
motion by George, second by Tom, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Thank you, Claire.
You're welcome.
Chantel Brunda,
Yes,
Permission?
this is a request to clear 15-foot path to do a test hole on a subdivision parcel.
and what,
That you're on. It's been approved by you, but they're still going through the health department process. This is where one lot is created and the other lot will be open space purchased by the town. So the portion is to go along the flag strip and into the lot, just a portion of 15 feet. With the red, can you see that?
Yeah.
So that's to facilitate the test hole,
and that's to build a house.
to build one house on that one lot. The
Is it a-
remainder of the lot.
is it a fully wooded lot, do we know?
It is.
Okay.
It is fully, can we just pull it
Health
up?
department?
Is that it?
Oh,
Yep, so the
cemetery.
southern portion is an actual building lot that's gonna be created. The lot to the north and east, north and west will be an open space parcel that will be.
That's
lot
all
access.
open space, so they want to put it in the, just put your cursor there?
Okay, cursor. So along the right of way, 15 feet, down here and to this portion here, because that's where the lot is approximately this wide. The rest will be bought by the town of Southampton.
What about clearing? Do they have to clear any of those trees away to do a test hole?
They may have to, and they would be subject to, they could be subject to DEC, so I will put that as a condition.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have a resolution.
okay.
It references this plan, but I'll say any clearing for the northern long area bat would be subject to any DEC regulations.
And that counts towards our APOD clearing limits.
They would. It's mostly the access, so it's going to
Okay,
be
so
yeah.
they're gonna
So
It's gonna be their driveway
It's going to be
anyway.
their driveway anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. For your consideration.
Motion by George, second by Tom, all in favor? Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Anthony, we're going down to 33010 Noyak Road.
Yes, that's the Burke property. We're just doing, this would be a second pre-submission conference because we reviewed this property once before. They went in a different direction. The applicant's giving me some more information because this is all affordable. So we're just doing an extension of the action deadline until 3/27.
327, okay, motion? Motion by Kate, second by Gloria, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Number 8 is off the agenda. Number 9, we've done. Claire, number 10, Bridgehampton Commons, Target.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I told him we didn't have to worry about it.
Welcome.
Good afternoon.
So this is on tonight for a pre-submission for the entire parking lot. It's gonna be reconfigured. And they're, because of that, they're losing, I'm sorry, 6 or 6?
6.
And then just introduce yourself for the plan.
Good afternoon, everyone. Brian Kennedy, partner with Porcelli, Dean, Brown for that.
So,
And?
Sorry, and Alex Holloman, civil engineer for the applicant.
Right, so, with this, we did some preliminary referrals because they wanted to go forward with some of their activities, the truck body, the truck loading space in the back, the signage, and then we talked about the bollards and the drop curb, right? I don't know if you have any more information about maybe bollards or anything
Sure,
like that.
we do. We understand the board's concerns with the bollards. In the last revision that we provided to Claire late yesterday.
Yeah, I don't have any copies. Do you?
That's okay, we do have a copy.
Yes.
Can you show?
This is just a site.
We've reduced, there were 5 originally presented, we've reduced it to 3. They're still red, as long as that is acceptable to the board, and the width of the walkway is still the same.
Okay, you're aware that structurally you have columns there?
We are,
Yeah.
but those will not serve the same purpose as the bollards, right? The bollards are bright red, they'll theoretically stand out far more than the actual columns. Also, the bollards are not structurally supporting the roof like the columns are.
Yeah,
More
no, my
importantly.
only question was that you have a large, no curb design. And I didn't realize it, but your model is that you take your carts in every night? You take the carts into the store?
That is correct.
So that's a large piece of equipment, which is why you need,
Correct. That is.
Well, it's just the exchange of people, and it's a wide curb cut so that patrons can come in and out of the parking lot and leaving and exiting the store.
it's not for the
It's not
piece of
specifically for
equipment?
bringing equipment in for the carts. No, not specifically for that.
But that is part of it. Here's
Yes.
the revised rendering. I realize it's small, but
Okay.
you'll see that has the 3 red bollards on the front, located at the center.
I thought one of the key issues here is that you have, because there's more and more online purchasing, you have a lot of staff moving carts out of the store to get to the customers waiting for their.
That is correct.
So there's no curb for that. That's one of the reasons for no curb, so they can get in and out easily with the carts.
100%. And the drive-up stalls was a big concern of yours, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
We've got some additional information for you on that. The average stay time for those customers at the site is 3 minutes. So the customer gets notified on their app when their order is ready. They then respond back to the app when they're on their way. They again notify the store through the app when they arrive. At that point, a team member comes out, walks along the walkways that are located adjacent to these drive-up stalls, delivers the merchandise into the vehicle, and then they walk back along that walkway. That is for the safety of the staff member, those walkways, safety of the customer, and it also keeps these carts out of the drive aisles. So it serves many purposes.
Isn't there an accessibility, wheelchair accessibility is probably?
As part of the drive-up stalls, no.
No, I'm sorry, not the stalls.
Oh, there is handicap, yes,
Yes,
we
handicap.
meet the required handicap.
Yes.
Could you describe exactly where the bollards are in relation to the columns and the sidewalk?
Sure.
It might be easier to.
I only have a small one, you have the larger one?
I had a hard
Yeah.
time finding it on there.
Oh, here.
Sure. You can see them in the front, right in the center. If you take a look. You have the site plan. No. Right here. See, this is the extended walkway into the store. Bollard 1, 2, and 3 located on center. Additionally, previously we had ones right here.
Are they
and here.
are they on the sidewalk or are they in the
They-
drive path?
No, they're located right on the sidewalk.
Yeah, they're on the side, they're on the cut up section of the, it's right in front of the nose down curve, the flush curve
Okay.
section. Yeah. So it's not protruding the walkway underneath the building, if that's what you're asking. It's not impacting it.
I mean, I've been to a Target in Virginia, and it seems to me they're sort of in the middle of nowhere. As I'm driving by, so that's why I'm asking to try to understand physically.
They are
where they
away from the drive aisle, but not impacting the walkway underneath, the breezeway underneath the building, which the columns are
So
supporting.
it's in between the columns
Mhm.
and the curb.
That's correct.
Okay, that
Yes.
helps.
The issue that I see is it's kind of, it's somewhere in between an architectural element and a safety feature and signage because it is a marketing element because it represents your brand. So I think what I would want to do is look for an interpretation on that because we haven't seen this before and we don't want to open up a can of worms. And we've been pretty strict on signage. There's pretty strict signage regulations within this shopping center. So, you know, it's a critical element of the brand for you, but it's a new tool and we have to define what is that, right? Bollards typically are
Safety, to stop
for
cars from going,
safety,
yeah.
right? And so it's basically a replacement for the curb, but it also is a marketing piece, a marketing tool,
The brand.
you know,
The
bringing
only-
in.
My only pushback on that would be, is these are not visible from the street. It's only interior. You won't even be able to see them from the rear of the parking lot. So that's how I would differentiate them from signage.
Yeah, so I think we just need a formal interpretation. I don't know if that comes from the building department, the ARB, just so that in the future we
Was
know
there
how to
any
treat that.
covenants and color schemes on this subdivision when it was done? What's that
So
like?
you mean, so we
Signage.
we have
Master.
a design plan. When we did change it from blue to then at that point blue, but now we have the smaller units have the green and gold.
Green and
We've
gold.
seen it.
That looks
And the
very
large
good.
units can have their branded color, which is this is just strategic as an example. So everyone individually comes to the planning board and ARB for a review of that, for the signage itself. We referred this to the ARB, but it wasn't that they were focused on the bollards, right, at the time. And they're not the decider, so that would be the chief building inspector at the end of the day.
So the sign itself is white, which
Correct,
is
yes.
great.
Correct.
So it's not the red, which is also part of their brand. So they're putting red in the bollards. I don't have a particular issue with that, but the sign, does it comply with sizing and location?
That was the other thing we should talk about.
Yeah, I mean, we have a pretty distinct sizing.
We had Kenwood McQuaid, who's the architect for, in-house architect for Target.
Okay.
Is on via Zoom. I don't know if we can have him speak briefly.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, Ken?
Kate, can you pass the renderings down?
This one? Yeah.
There he is.
Yes, please identify yourself, Ken.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Wright. I'm the design project architect from Target in Minneapolis.
We were talking about the sign. And in this particular shopping center, there are size restrictions and color restrictions. Clearly, we have a master sign plan. So we understand your sign is going to be white.
Yes.
Right. And does it comply with the size? Where do we have a size?
I did some quick measures, like it does comply. And I was looking at the other units as comparison.
Target.
Though they don't have exactly the same linear feet, so they are allowed a bigger sign than these two examples, which is the bigger ones next door, right? Which is TJ Maxx and Marshalls. Because I think the distance, we measured it today, right? 68 feet was the distance. This is 53. So they are allowed a longer sign, longer and bigger sign.
What's the max?
But I don't have a square footage yet on them. What I would say is to look at those two and use that as a ratio for you.
Okay.
If you try to do that, I think it's something the planning board can approve because it's a master sign plan, rather than following the code as specifically. So maybe something we can work on in terms
Yeah,
of
you
the
can
square
get
footage.
you can get your sign up. I mean, I don't know what you are looking to do immediately.
Facade upgrades. and
We're
signage,
getting
correct.
letters to the editor saying planning board's holding you up.
Which, by the way,
Yeah.
I meant to talk to you about this yesterday. I would put on the record today and this evening that the town, especially Ms. Shea and Ms. Shearer and you folks, have been incredibly accommodating.
Please do.
Honestly.
Okay.
You have. So I don't know where the press was getting their information from. Unclear.
Okay, so
What we
signage.
can act on today, then, which gets them forward, is all the other signage. They can go forward with that, the front facade changes, the windows and things like that. We'll work on the sign for the targets, and then
The rear loading.
the back.
Yeah, I
So
thought
that
we
I can do, if there's a resolution here, I'm just gonna cross out a couple things.
Yep.
The bollards will get a referral on, but again, we'll probably get an answer back at the end of with the pre-submission report being ready in 6 weeks, if the hearing gets closed today. So we can have some answers on the bollards about it being a sign.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just having a real hard time architecturally looking at the columns and then the bollards. They seem to be, in my mind, fighting with each other. And, they're brick, they're red brick, and this is gonna be a different shade of bright red. And I don't think they're gonna look nice. Personal opinion.
And I appreciate your opinion. I do. I just, you all know Target as the red bullseye. They need some element of red at the site.
So is the building department going to voice their opinion based on just the idea of the bollard or the color? Or both?
That's what the interpretation is, so.
Color is part of the sign. So for instance, if you were going to paint your gas station columns, the whole thing, bright Sunoco yellow, right? They'd say that was a sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
Wasn't
right.
sure.
So that's where I'm kind of,
Yeah.
I don't have that determination, but it's a question that we need answered.
Yeah, so, but I don't know the answer on this case. It's not something I've discussed with them.
Okay.
Will that be addressed prior to the? Sorry. Will that be addressed?
Yes.
Couple of things about the bollards. The one thing is, the main reason they exist is for the safety of people coming in and out of the store. Because what always happens is somebody buys a TV and they pull up on the curb to have someone load it in the back of their car, right? And the bollards are really meant to keep people from, pulling half their car up on the sidewalk and keeping them out of the main pedestrian zone where people are coming and going. And it's also become a branding element, right? Especially in a store like this where we've chosen to do a white sign and kind of blend in better. But honestly, and I appreciate Brian's tenaciousness, but honestly, if the color is the only thing hanging it up, we'd be open to changing the color. If that'll help move this forward and kind of
I think it was,
the tail
look-
wag the dog, right? Like,
Ooh,
as long as we
change
can
it.
have them on there for a safety reason, we can paint them a different color if you guys are having trouble, with the red.
I honestly think if they were white to match the sign would
Well,
aesthetically look better, but
especially
I'd
the
almost
white
rather have the
shows every
sign
stop
red
and every mark.
with the bollards, so they at least match.
The
Again, that's my
white,
opinion.
I understand.
respectfully, the white shows every scuff and every,
Yeah.
it's a dirt, so if we could go with maybe a more neutral gray or something like that, I think it would help. Otherwise, we're gonna be out there every 2 weeks painting them because they're just gonna be, showing. I think visually white will look nice, but it's just a maintenance issue for us. So.
And if they match the color of the brick, I have no idea what color the brick is, but you said it was a different
Or
color?
Or the background to the target.
That's a different,
Brown.
The background behind the target. Is that a gray?
Yeah, how about the color of the target
Yeah,
background?
it's colored
Which is a
here.
gray, PMS.
The gray, yeah, I was thinking that's the gray background.
Okay.
That really helps tie all together.
Yeah, I had PMS on that, I think. Or I was gonna ask you for PMS, I think. Yeah, no, I said no to PMS, sorry. So you have the gray,
Do you
yeah.
have Ken, you have PMS colors on these? PMS color on the gray? Do you have a PMS color on the gray?
No, not yet.
Okay.
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 And you think that would coordinate?
I mean, I think it needs coordination.
Yeah.
That's part of my hang up on the bollards. I just think they're gonna stand out and everything else is gonna be nice and
Unique target, the only one with gray bollards instead of red.
We'll still have red carpets, I hope.
So we've got signs, so we've got the size of the sign and,
So you still wanna do a referral then?
no, not,
Did they change the color?
I think we should,
mean,
because I
like-
agree with
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
so I mean, to my mind, I wouldn't make a commentary on what color they are. Obviously, the color red is a branding element, as is the shape, right, of the bollard. So I think a referral and determination is important because you could have any other brand with, say Nike came in and they had a bollard that was their swoosh, is it a safety element now or not? And so for the fairness and setting us up to have a fair determination, that's really what I'm calling out.
okay, so let's do that.
Well, I'm gonna ask them also specifically is the color.
And what does
causing
that
it
do
to
to
be
the
a sign?
process?
Okay, okay.
This determination, what does that do to the process?
Oh, it'll
Because
be in between now and the pre-submission report
That's
being
quick,
adopted
right?
in 6 weeks, which is when you would adopt.
But they can go ahead with
We're
the,
giving you approval for a lot of other stuff.
For
Everything
the
else,
facade,
right?
the sign, and the.
Well, the
Loading
size
dock.
of the sign now, we have to,
The sign, the other signs, I'm sorry,
Oh, the other
all the other
signs.
signs, I'm gonna pull up Target sign.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the 6 dedicated spaces, right? The issue that I brought up and was that, bless you, the shared, it's shared parking in this lot. But we've noticed that if various other retailers dedicate spaces for their clients, then that literally extracts it from the general public. So I don't know what those numbers are. I don't know whether there are 100 spaces being dedicated cumulatively by other retailers, in which case, if we had 800 parking spaces, we're now reduced to 700 parking spaces. So it's a fairness issue. It's also a management issue because I'm sure people are going to pull into those spaces whether they're picking up or not. You have issues with that. So that was the concern that I had. And Claire looked into it, but maybe this is something that you could take a look at as well.
Gladly. Can I clear up one thing?
Yes.
There'll be 10 drive-up stalls. We're losing 6 parking stalls from what exists. There are 2 people in the audience here. We have Ethan Shakowski, who has prepared or is in the midst of preparing a parking analysis for this project that will be submitted to this board. I don't know if Ethan can come up speak briefly just about drive-up stalls in general. But we also have Donnie Lowe, who's a representative of Kimco, the property owner,
Right.
who has indicated to us that there are no parking issues at the site. They do not have complaints from tenants, from customers at the site. So, Donnie, I don't know if you have any additional information on that?
No.
The site was
Come this,
previously,
grab this chair.
You can stay.
You can stay there if you want, sure.
Donnie Lowe from Kimco Realty. Actually, you summed it up, and there's no complaints from our own tenants. So at the center, I checked with property management about this particular issue. There's no lack of parking. There's no internal fighting between the tenants. We're adequately parked. So I don't think there would be an issue with turning over some spots over to the quick pickup.
And do you find that if you have a dozen or so other retailers wanting dedicated spaces, that's going to affect your overall parking?
Oh, if other tenants ask for the same,
they're already doing.
that's always a lease negotiation. I mean, they're already there, so they could always request it, and we would consider it. It hasn't come up. No one's asked for those.
There are some existing right now.
Yeah, and there's not been a problem with those. So we really see it as when you have the quick pickup spots, it alleviates some of the parking in the main field because people come in 10, 15 minutes and they're gone, whereas someone else would come in and park. They're there for 40 minutes, they go walk around, and then that's a much longer stay. So it's actually helping the parking count because it's such a short-term stay.
and that's part of what I was going to ask Mr. Shakowski to speak to as well.
And that's just our observation, but he's got the numbers.
Ethan Shakowski with TPD Engineering, formerly Atlantic Traffic. I've been here before. So yeah, I mean the pickup stalls. I'll just say, as he presented, it's not a unique concept certainly to Target. It's the way the world is shifting these days, especially as things shift online. We had the big Amazon site here that went in recently. There's less people going into stores and shopping. So as he mentioned, these stalls become much more efficient for the parking field. Like we found like an average these days, based on research, is about 20 minutes. You park, you walk the store, and you come back to your car. That's about 20 minutes. On average, the information Target gave us was these stalls turn over in about 3 minutes. So, I mean, it's a much quicker turnover, which just helps to alleviate the overall parking demand. The different stores, of course, have different systems. Target's is all app-based. Brian described it, but, there's no one sitting there and calling the store or placing orders in these. It's really you go and you park, having already made the order and having confirmation that the order is ready, and then you tell them that it's there and they run it out to your car. So, we just did some quick numbers. Basically, if you look at the existing supply, assuming 20 minutes on average, people are parked a stall, you can serve with 543 stalls. You're serving about, assuming, they're all occupied, at the same time, you're serving, and the 20-minute dwell periods, you're serving about 1,600 in an hour. You get with the 6 turnover stalls at 5 minutes per, so you're serving an additional 120 an hour. So just to say, all of that is just to say it's a little bit more efficient, and I think it helps your demand. And I would also point out just where they're located is a much more convenient spot for Target than any of the other retailers. I think you're a little bit close to maybe TJ Maxx over there, but I mean, generally, I think they're an overall benefit to your parking demand.
Well, it's a new system for this shopping center.
Yeah.
Because we don't have anything like that, and so we rely on your history for this, with an app, ordering on the app and then waiting in your car for the pickup.
I think that this particular shopping center has been moving in that direction. We've got several stores doing that, and maybe the overall parking calculations that were used for this original application may not be appropriate anymore, because things have changed, maybe significantly enough, that there is really no need for that level of parking.
And an important part, and I know I've seen it in Ethan's report, is that it doesn't generate any new trips. It is for customers who want a quicker, more convenient way of accessing Target. So it's not a new demand generation in our opinion. It is
No, that's understandable. Where are these places? Are they close to the door?
Right up front. You see them right there?
They're the best spots.
Correct.
Second best after.
You have to download the
after
app.
handicap. That's right. I have to make that clear.
I have to pick my tomatoes.
Yeah, I mean, there's 10 stalls. This is more anecdotal than anything, but usually when I've used the service, I live in Smithtown, and when I've used it in Comac, generally most of them are filled, but there's always a couple available. And I think someone from Target can explain better. But in terms of maintenance, if people decide to park there anyway, I don't think that they can always control that. They're not going to kick them out, but generally most people don't.
Well, let's see, you have 6, right?
We have 10 total.
Yeah.
We're losing 6 parking
Yeah.
stalls. We're going from 543 total to 537.
And we're only losing 2 because of this.
Yes.
So
Additional
in
car
total, we're
corrals.
losing 6.
Yes.
4 that we're losing are because of the cart corrals, which obviously are benefits. You don't have carts all in the parking lot. And then 2 are for this. And the only reason we're losing the 2 is because they are putting in little aisles for the.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's just safer for the employees to bring it. They have specially designed carts. It's not the normal shopping cart. It's a little bit thinner, and they bring those out and deliver the goods off of those carts to the employees.
And so your cart control is that you take all the carts in at night?
That's correct, right, Ken?
Anything that's in a corral, your carts?
Correct.
And that's usually inside the store, right?
If it's a huge, full-size super Target out in a far-flung suburb, a lot of times we'll have some storage on the sidewalk, but in a smaller location like this, the goal is always to bring them in at night.
And then do you put them out during the day?
No,
No,
Or you
As
get them-
customers
you get
come
them
in, they
in.
take them and bring them out.
So they're all
front.
inside.
These carts are inside the store. Most for
The corrals are so
In Riverhead, when I
patrons
go
don't
there,
have to
they're
bring it all
all
the way
inside.
back.
Just like Riverdale, it's about 40,000 square feet smaller.
We're not corrals in this shopping lot until this year.
Well, Kmart had 2. The approved site plan had 2. Right?
No, I'm talking
Oh,
prior to
yes,
that, yes. There's no place to leave your cart. So,
We can be very focused in this decision, and I can just outline it. I have a draft that's in front of you. So what I would refer to that's it too, which is gonna be some editing here.
okay.
I'm gonna say what the original site plan was for. It was the pre-constructed truck loading dock, the
Where are you,
signage.
Claire?
This is
Page?
second paragraph on the first page. Front facade change, the bollards and the parking lot associated. That was your original pre-submission, and with that, we talked about doing at that first meeting, and I'll reference the dates. We talked about expediting some of it, and so that would be this third paragraph, reconstructed truck loading spot, signage, and I'm gonna say except Target. And the front facade changes. And so I'm taking out the bollards, because we're gonna talk about that
Mhm.
later, right? So that would be fine for you to go forward with.
Could I ask
Okay.
something about the bollards?
Yeah.
For you gentlemen, are these manufactured and shipped with the color that you've selected, or are they painted when they arrive? Because that might affect whether you could go ahead with the plans for the bollards and get that process going if they're painted on site, as opposed to where they're manufactured. Do you know?
They're supplied by a company called Wausau Concrete, which is out of northern Wisconsin, and we can specify whatever color we want, so they can come painted.
But I'm just wondering, I don't want the color to hold up that aspect of it if it doesn't have to.
Oh, no, we can also paint them on site if that's, whatever works better.
That moves it faster. That's the whole idea.
I think it's the shape and
We don't, do we have an issue with the shape, or do we have an issue with the color?
That's the thing. For the record, I do not have an issue with the shape or color. I think that there is a threshold here of a question that needs to be answered about shape and color and whether that constitutes part of signage. And the building department's gonna make that determination very swiftly, which will not hold up any of your work that you wanna do immediately.
I hope so. And the idea is not that it refers just to this project, but we get a determination for all future
any
projects,
projects.
so that everybody follows the
Set
same.
precedent.
Yeah.
And this may be a technicality, but it's an off-the-shelf product. Anybody could order brown bollards. It's not a Target specific, like you mentioned the Nike swoosh, earlier. It's not a custom-made, Target-tized thing. It's an off-the-shelf product.
Yeah.
So then in that case, I
Even
would
more
agree
important.
with,
We'd have bollards everywhere, right?
And if we're gonna get a determination fairly quickly,
But
then,
I think
okay.
Yeah, so I was just looking it up, so if the deadline would be, the pre-submission report that would be adopted on April 24th, then we could make a determination on bollards.
I think-
Signage probably at the same time.
Yeah, so
I think maybe what I'd like to know is if the building department determines this is not part of the signage, that we kind of commit to the gray bollards and not the red bollards, because we seem to have no issue with doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, now I know that that's
I
how you
don't-
feel.
you can do
But
like
yeah.
a conditional approval, because I understand what you're saying too. And does the building department or ARB have an opinion on could anybody put any off-the-shelf bollard, or is there a particular design?
Well, we don't have anything in this, let's put it this way, we don't have anything in the sign code language that deals with anything like a bollard. It's a new thing.
which is why
And
I
I,
think it's a.
and I respect what Kate's saying in that we may have to amend our sign code to incorporate some language about this. That's right.
Which is why I think it's important that we address it so you can get going, but we address it more holistically.
In our
for
own
town.
master sign code. This is it, the
Or
master-
we can bring a response in 2 weeks, we can talk about it on the 27th.
Yep.
Sure.
Will this impact our submission to the ZBA?
No.
Okay.
I mean, if they come back and say,
Why are
no
you on the
bollards,
ZBA?
no bollards, no color, no bollards.
I think we will need
But I
relief
don't think so.
for the size of the sign.
How much bigger is this sign going to be?
I don't know the square footage.
Figure that out, please.
Yes.
I mean,
That's so-
because, let me
it's
just
so
give,
important because
have the
we,
square-
We have the
we,
square footage of the Target sign.
We're gonna table the sign,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
We're gonna
okay.
work on it, because.
Unless, wait, it
We have the
does
listed square
require-
footage, yes.
what is the square footage?
Then we need to decide what the length of the
Mhm.
building facade is, and then we have to do the 1.5 times, and then we have to do the 75%. There's a little bit to this.
Ken, you might have that off your.
Yeah, so.
I'm looking at it.
I sent that to you, I can look it up, but
You have to do your facade improvements before you attach a sign anyway, right?
Correct,
So
yes, correct.
might as well have a separate.
We'll wait for the determination. I'll stay in contact with Claire. Hopefully we have that within 2 weeks and can come back before you guys.
Yeah, there's some precedent here. It's not just what the code says, because
It's exactly.
we've done Marshall, that was a new sign
Mhm.
in a certain size.
Right.
And I think that if we use that as our basis or something similar with the length, then we can be within the
We're still
requirements. Yeah.
somewhat arguing with another applicant.
Yes.
I mean, size is important
Yes.
here.
And every time I go to the store, it makes me angry because it's still too big.
Yes.
I shop in the shopping center once a week.
Okay.
Okay, so we got the fire marshal comments, and we have the ARB, which has the problems with the other signs, and the town engineer. And so I'm going to add some language here about, so we're just approving that whereas on page 2, second full whereas, for the reconstructed truck loading dock and the front facade changes, and the signs, and I'm gonna spell them out, the pickup sign, the CVS sign, and the Starbucks sign, right? So I'll spell them right out, and then I'm gonna say that the Target sign to be further reviewed for compliance with the town code. And then the proposed red bollards, I'm gonna say referral to the town, building code, right?
the sign is 184 square feet.
184 square feet.
Yes. And then all the other signs have been either moved inside and underneath, like the CVS pharmacy sign was changed to vinyl on the glass.
Okay,
Target, the Starbucks sign is now unilluminated behind glass.
great. Okay. And, okay, so truck loading, dock signage.
Are you down to your hereby resolved? So
Yes.
changes to the building, you want to remove reference to the illuminated CVS and Starbucks sign?
Mm-hmm. And then remove the Target sign from the plans that are gonna be stamped approved at this time, the PMS color, pair. For the site plan, it's just the rear loading dock only, and then remove the reference to the bollards. So this would be a plan that we stamp now, they can go forward, go get the building permit for that work, okay?
Yep.
For your consideration. Thank you.
Any other comments from the planning board? No? Ken, anything more you need to say?
No, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna make a motion to adopt this as amended. Okay, well, is it expedited? Roy?
As-
You wanna-
As amended.
As amended,
As we
yes.
discussed.
Motion by Kate, second by David, all in favor? Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
Thank you. See you this evening.
We'll see you tonight.
I have two more that are pretty quick.
Thank you.
So it's, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're not cutting me, you're good.
West Hampton Beach Yacht Squadron.
Yeah.
That's a site plan that
Number 12.
you looked at a couple years ago. They were grading the building and they all signed off. They're gonna do an IA system and they made a referral to conservation on that. So I'm gonna deem it complete today and do the referrals, but as an expedited, no public hearing, I don't think is warranted on this one because it's just replacing the system and upgrading it to IA, if you're agreeable.
There's nothing else that gets messed up on the site?
No, well, they're gonna have
Fencing.
to really,
Shall we have
dig up
fence-
the site, obviously, but it would, we wanna get Marty's comments, right?
Yeah, and I
on
think
that.
maybe some limiting fence might be important,
Yes.
just so that,
There'll be a referral to the town engineer, Marty, and the fire marshal in this
Okay.
case, is that good?
Yeah.
Yep, so that would be deemed that complete and have the limited referrals.
motion to deem it complete by
Yes.
Gloria, and second by Kate, all in favor. Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent, and then,
I have one more, and that is to reschedule Chrysler Dodge number 20. That was supposed to be on tonight's meeting, but they had a failure in their
posting,
posting.
so to when?
To April 10th.
April 10th, yeah.
Okay, motion
Motion.
by Gloria, second, Kate,
I'll
all in
second.
favor? 6 in favor, 1 absent, Chrysler Dodge moved to April 10th.
And then she's gonna sign my plans, so we will just do a Loaves and Fishes.
I signed them.
Okay, so we're acknowledging number 27, Loaves and Fishes signed. And did you sign St. Mary's?
It was not here, so I did not sign it.
Okay, Brenna, you know that the plans for St. Mary's were not here?
Yes.
So is this off the agenda? 28 is off the agenda. Thank you, Claire. So Anthony is up.
Jack, just so you're aware, 14 is off. Do you want to do it?
Oh, 14 is off, okay.
1456?
Yes.
It's just an extension, sorry.
Okay.
This is the special trade contractor. This is the one where we previously, we have a 50% clearing limitation on commercial. Pine Barrens lets you go up to 65% with transfer and everything. The applicant came in to go to 53%, which wasn't a huge ordeal, but the Pine Barrens did away with that provision. So now to go over 50%, you have to go for a hardship. So I've discussed this with the applicant so they can revise the site plan to make it work. I don't want to send someone for a hardship for 3%. Let's make that work.
This is the spray paint thing?
No, this is just like a special trade contractor building. So we're going to do an extension until March 27th.
Okay.
Which one is it, Anthony?
Number 11.
11, sorry.
Motion
Motion.
George, motion by George, second by Tom, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Seth, 13.
This will be quick. I have to correct a clerical mistake I made on the Busso final adoptions for the site plan on 12/12.
Yes.
Rick Wasowski with the Rayner Group for the applicant.
So, yes, on December 12th, I had put down in one of the whereas statements that it was 0.55 Pine Barren credits. In actuality, that 0.55 was to cover the septic flow. So there was, I had mistakenly put down that amount of credits. It should have been read 0.03 credits, which the applicant has procured.
Okay, so you're changing
I
that
just
in
need to
the,
change that, but in doing so, I guess we're re-adopting that resolution and the approval of the site plan for today's date, which in actuality will
when did we approve it?
12/12 of last year.
12/12 of 24, and
Yes.
that's the only change?
Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, motion? Motion by George, second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Brenna? Denise Maynard?
But this is the application for a 2-lot subdivision. It's 240 Harbor Lane in Southampton. It's an existing parcel with improvements. It's before you today for
Is that it?
completeness. It is the outline in the red.
Which one is this?
15.
15.
Number 15.
Thank you.
Before you today for completeness, they have been subject to 2 previous subdivisions in 1980 and 1991. The 1991 has covenants and restrictions limiting it from any further subdivision, but goes on to say that the covenant can be amended with planning board approval.
Supermajority.
Yeah, supermajority. So the plan looks to meet all the requirements for the submission, but given the history and the uses, there's several variances and the restrictions that we may or may not have access to. I'm recommending it be deemed incomplete. I reviewed it with Carl Benacasa, who's the attorney for the applicant. He was here earlier. He said he'll put together a narrative for the next meeting for the board's consideration, and then hopefully then it can be incomplete.
So it's in an ag overlay district, in an archaeologically sensitive area?
It's 2.5 acres.
Mm-hmm.
And the proposed lots would be essentially taking that small leg that fronts 240 Halsey, and separating it out from the larger body of the lot. But it does come in a little bit. It creates, it'll require several variances for both lots. More so for the smaller lot, but for both lots.
One lot is 40%, it's 25,000 square feet in
Yeah, it's
R60
25,000
zoning.
in R60, so the lead lot area, and then the larger lot is 80,000 square feet. That lot is, will also need lot width, I think, relief, and then maybe some building setbacks, but they do have some variances,
And these are
variances.
already developed lots.
Yeah, there's a single-family residence on that front piece. The back building, it's been added to over time, but it was, it's CO'd as an apartment over a 2-car garage. But
It's CO'd as a garage, right, with the
It's
apartment?
an apartment above.
That's what the
However,
CO says.
Yeah.
Apartment with the garage.
But it definitely has more single-family residence language, and they've added to it, and they've gotten it through the building department. They've gotten all the permits, so it's.
And are there lots of other buildings there, it looks like?
There are, I think, so there's a pool and a pool house, and then I believe there are 4 accessory
Sheds.
structures, sheds, and a little storage building.
So those will go on to the large lot.
Yes, I believe all of them are, except for one shed will remain on the smaller lot. There's a small shed next to what looks like a garage. I think they're calling it a pool house.
And the driveway is off Halsey?
Yeah, the driveway off Halsey, and then the driveway to the other structure is off of a private road, I forget what it's called, excuse me, Morgan Hill. Yeah, it leads back to that Suskin property that's on the, close to the water.
So this was all ag fields prior.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Wow. What year is
That was
that?
76. That's hard to read. That's the 62.
The buildings, I think, are dated.
There's been a lot of them there.
Late 1800s, 1870s.
So it's a historic.
Yeah, and it's all pre-existing, it's historic.
When was that barn with the apartments over it?
Expanded, or?
Yeah.
I think it was 2010. I don't have all my notes in front
There's
of
a
me.
ZBA decision for that.
Yeah.
The ZBA gave them the ability to expand that structure, which was a garage with the second floor apartment.
And there was a determination in 1991 when the second time they subdivided the property. It has an abstract in GIS. I don't see the full determination, but something about allowing the apartment on the property.
So that was all together as one, and then they subdivided
It was, so
two
it was
lots.
together with the lot to the west. The subdivision from 1980 lent to that large lot, and then in 1991, they took what was called Lot C and divided it into those two lots that you see up there. And then they did a lot line modification in 08.
Yeah, you see, this in the 80s created this lot C, whatever that is. And then this lot was further subdivided in 1991 to this lot, back lot, and this lot here, and this is what the subject of the application is.
So the zoning here is R60?
It is.
And it's not an APOD or anything, so.
No, ag overlay, it's an archaeological sensitive area, but not an APOD.
Right. Because it's pretty cleared.
What's
Yeah,
the red
historically
line
it's
on the,
clear.
on the map?
I'm sorry?
What's that red line going?
Oh, it's a zoning, the zoning changes, right? I think
Yeah,
it's
that's
the
the
R80.
And are there any ag easements on there, or, I mean, it just seems silly in the ag overlay district, they had originally, you know, it would be interesting to see what the language was in the resolution for the original, subdivision, because it looks like they set aside for ag, but then they're kind of chipping away at that over time.
I didn't see any.
They set aside for housing.
They did submit a title search that was well over 100 pages long, which I still haven't completely combed through, but I don't believe there was.
So there are no restrictions
As far
as an ag, in the ag
I don't
overlay
think
district?
so. I don't think so, but I can double check that, and Carl will be here next.
Open
time.
space, right?
It wasn't part of an open space. It was, so the original was that sort of strip of land that goes all the way to the wetlands or the water. And then, and all those out parcels like in the front weren't part of it, they're just there. It was really.
Oh, that's not part of it.
Yeah, it was the back lot, and then the two lots flanking that right of way or that private road on the north and the south side of it. This is the south side of it. So I don't think they didn't do anything for open space. I looked through the old files. It wasn't, the one below it is something different. There's an easement there, but
So it's Halsey, and what's the cross street? What is that?
that road's Morgan Hillway. It's just south of the village.
Yeah, no, I'm
It's
trying
Paul's
to figure.
Lane to the south, I think.
Is it Paul's Lane?
I think that's
Which one?
to the
The
south.
vertical
Well,
road.
you
Oh, that's
can't see
Halsey
it in
Lane,
this.
The vertical.
The
road that it's
vertical
on,
is
yeah.
Halsey, okay.
It's 240 Halsey Lane. That leg fronts Halsey. That was the original main house.
Well, this is completeness, we'll get a
Yeah.
referral for ag advisory. and-
Yeah, we'll do that when we get into when we deem it complete and something.
Okay.
But for now, it's incomplete.
It's incomplete.
It's incomplete.
Okay. So
Okay, motion. So deem incomplete?
deem it incomplete, George. Second, Kate. All in favor? Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Teresa, the bridge site plan disturbance covenant amendment.
This is actually on the agenda 3 times.
Why?
For site plan amendments, a covenant amendment, and a site disturbance application. So if you recall, we had a work session regarding this project in October. The parcel is 31 The Bridge. They have cleared beyond what was permitted by the original site plan application, and they modified the slopes significantly. And at the work session, you said you would consider entertaining the covenant amendment to eliminate the common drive because there were slope issues with respect to the other lot. And you wanted them to work it out with me, Marty, and Tom on how to resolve the issue on the overclearing and the slope modification.
Ooh.
Marty went out there, we met with Marty, Tom, and Marty said there's no way to recover the existing slopes that were there. So he recommended a 2-to-1 revegetation. So for, let's say, for example, they were over 1,000 square foot revegetate over the allowable clearing, he said revegetate 2,000. And they have provided us with a revised plan consistent with his recommendations. So I am recommending that we deem the applications complete because the covenant amendment also requires a public hearing, and schedule a hearing for April 10th. And then once we amend the site plan approval and the covenant, we can approve the site disturbance as well.
Okay, so this is completion.
This is completion
Okay.
and scheduling the hearing for
April 10, okay. Motion by Kate, second by Gloria, all in favor. Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. So April 10, public hearing, and we're deeming it complete.
Thank you, have a nice evening.
Thanks.
So we have number
So
9.
that's 19. So that takes care of 16, 19,
and 22.
and 22. Okay. Seth Mulvey, Francis Mulvey.
Please have a seat. Pleasure to meet you.
How you doing?
Okay.
Good afternoon. How you been?
Good.
So-
Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. Your name
I
for
was
the
a young
record.
man once.
We were all younger.
Sorry?
We were all younger.
Yes.
Yes. Your name for the record.
Robert Marcinsuk, O'Shea Marcinsuk in Bruin, 250 North Sea Road, Southampton. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Seth?
Very well. So we have the final application for a minor subdivision located at 7 Percy Avenue. Before us, last time it was before the board, we deemed it incomplete for lack of a archaeological study, a 1A and a 1B. Since then, we have received, the planning board has received that study, and it concluded that there was no artifacts or features were found on site. That was one of the last hurdles that kind of held up this project. I had asked the applicant to send in a proof of the acquisition of Pine Barren credits, which he has done. He gave me the certificate for a 0.65 Pine Barren credits, and which gave him permission to get the approval by the Suffolk County Department of Health Services for his septic system. So, that being said, I think we are able to deem this final application complete, and per the applicant's request, waive the the public hearing for lack of any response to during the pre-application phase, even though that was in May 11th of 2023. So
2 years ago.
less than 2 years ago, actually.
Do we have a report?
We have a pre-application.
Because I have, my notes say this was incomplete as in the
I
packet.
had, in a sense, backtracked. It should never, the report shouldn't have been, I guess, accepted because it was in the archaeological study or sensitive area and no study was performed. However, that report was
No, but I'm
approved.
saying, do we have a report to look at today?
Oh, the
Because-
archaeological
because-
study?
No, she's talking about her.
She's talking about the pre-app report.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it was approved by this planning board.
I thought you just said, what am I missing?
You guys did a pre-app in 2023. This is the final application.
And do we have a report for the final
We
application.
don't prepare reports for final applications, ever,
We did.
never.
Well,
I'm lying to you. I just lied to you, Gloria. Sorry. We do reports for commercial site plans. We do staff reports. On final subdivision applications, we don't do reports.
This is in a residential area, right?
Yes.
And it's a,
Surrounded by-
was there a hearing in 2022?
23, May 11th of 2023, there was a public hearing conducted, yes.
And?
And there was no comments and
No one showed
nothing-
up.
No one showed up and
But me.
nothing was written. And
Okay, but how about a 30-day written comment period?
there was a written, in the past, there was and nothing was
I
submitted.
think we should do another one.
Yes,
This will create two substandard
Two lots.
lots.
with, and they had security variance for.
So, well, I was just going to say, they got the variances, so there was a public hearing on that
At the ZBA.
at the ZBA,
Ah.
subsequent to that, so.
So that's
So they've had
two
two hearings. Correct.
And was there any turnout? No. All right, so a 30-day written comment period. Deem it complete and waive the public hearing and a 30-day
30-day.
written comment period.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Very good.
Motion by George, second by Tom. All in favor? Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Thanks, good to
Very
see you, Bob.
See you again.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in.
Anthony, you have Hampton's Collective.
Yep, this is, everyone knows the site there, the old Mecox Gardens, right? Is that what
Yes,
it's called?
that's-
The old
yeah.
Mecox Gardens site. So this is where they want to utilize just a portion of the space there for cannabis retail. We did a pre-submission conference report on this. The applicant has submitted a formal application. I got the traffic study today, which I'll forward to the planning board. And I'm still waiting for the engineer's review. So right now, we'll deem the application incomplete.
Okay, motion
Motion.
by
I'll
Gloria
second.
and second by Kate. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. We did number 20, 19, 20, we rescheduled. Seth, 21.
If I may, I have the applicant and his representative here for number 23.
Okay, so we'll go jump to that.
Okay, start with that. It's 2 Hampton Avenue.
2 Hampton Avenue, North Sea. This is site disturbance over clearing.
Yes. Hello again, Robert Fischetti, Ferdinand Fischetti, 320 Hampton Road, Southampton, for the applicant. I have my client Vicente Barreto here.
How are you?
And we also have Ed Noeski from Martyrs here with us.
Oh.
He prepared the revegetation plan.
Good.
So this came about, we were in front of this board actually last year or the year before for a road abandonment that was approved by this board, by the highway department, by everyone involved, and we went to record it and we found out it wasn't available to us. There was this old file maps and apparently that lot.
Is this an old file map?
Yes, so when the developer did it, apparently he had lumped that in. So we didn't do the road abandonment, but in maybe jumping the gun a little bit, my client did some clearing, so we now have to rectify that. Because he thought he was gonna have some additional square footage. So
It doesn't.
anticipated some, so we we're proposing to revegetate,
So you had cleared all the way into what was a road, right? And into the other portion of somebody else's road. Is that correct, Seth?
Looks
I'm
like
sorry,
you did.
just checking my numbers. Yeah, the back area there, that's, they had pushed the envelope towards the back for clearing, so. Is that your question? I'm sorry, I was.
No, my question is this driveway that gets in, have they
That
cleared
driveway is
the other half
different,
of the
actually.
portion?
yeah, that's not our property, the red is only ours.
Yeah, Jackie, my guess is, and I don't know this, my guess is when they went to get the building permit for this, road review required some improvements to Hampton Avenue, I'm assuming?
We didn't do, when my client bought it, it was built, so I believe.
What you're seeing here is what was required of the engineer. They require X amount of work to be done within a private road. Sometimes it could be just clearing up to the property, then continue clearing, then someone's responsible to put a base course down and drainage, so
that's a road review.
that's road review.
Yeah.
So all this will change over time, as lots get developed, if they get developed.
Where do
I
they
mean, I
get
think
it?
the issue seems to be that you were looking to take that sliver of property.
We thought to the rear was available to us, it turns out it's not. So we changed our, not
Your
specific location of clearing, but just the
percentage
overall
of clearing.
percentage,
So
yes.
you overcleared because you're expecting to,
Yes.
that will become.
And we were all the way up to the point of recording, this board had approved, everyone had approved, so we just
Okay.
got a little off track. So we're here to fix that, with this revegetation plan, that brings us back to 50%.
It's at 65 now, so they're proposing around 5,700 square feet of revegetation. Martyrs put together the revegetation plan. He and I went back and forth on spacing of the trees. Again, it's going to be sistered onto the back half of the property.
So what kind of trees?
Yes, we have photos of the types of
Is
trees.
that the latest area?
Scarlet, white, oak. They originally had proposed a bit more flowering dogwoods than I was comfortable with, so we switched that around. Scarlet and white oak.
No, it's the latest aerial.
Yeah, that's the latest.
But it is not, that's not correct.
That's what I figured. I'm looking at the plan and realizing
It's
they
not
cleared
like
all
that
the time.
anymore.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's October of last year.
Okay. That's
So
why-
more has been cleared? No.
No, it's just the driveway has been straightened out, I guess. And moved over, yeah, I mean, I guess technically speaking, that it's a straight shot from the garage all the way out to Hampton Avenue.
So you have part of the driveway to revegetate and everything
Yeah,
else
you
that's
can
been
see
cleared?
here now the driveway is straight. So now the driveway is straight, and you can see the vegetation goes right up to
To the property line almost, right?
line to clean up that area.
That's what I'm saying. From what I'm seeing in the aerial, it looks like they've cleared all the undergrowth. And I'm not sure if they cleared the mature trees in that area as well, where you're revegetating. Is all, are pretty much all the trees down now on the property?
No, so where you see the grass, those trees there, that's been opened up as lawn,
Mhm.
that area there. Is that correct? Yeah, that's right.
So what George is saying is that the understory has been cleared away.
As well as the overstory, there was lawn, it was understory, and the trees have come down where those.
Yes, you can see
Where that line
here in
is.
relation to the pool.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're revegetating 15%?
Yes, all along here, along the Hampton Avenue.
So, yeah, disregard the aerial, because that's a straight driveway, but then now, where that driveway is current on that aerial shot, to the east would be where the revegetation is taking.
Got it.
I can hold this up too, if you guys need.
Yeah,
Are you able to see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've specified a selection of
Yes,
trees?
yes,
Mhm.
this all laid out.
Martyrs
Plan
has
is here's
done
These
that?
trees have been taken off the native Southampton list, and so we
Good.
use them all the time with Marty Shea
Good.
for revegetation. And it is a upper story and lower story replanting, so you'll have a lot of trees there and plus understory plantings also.
What are the understory, the fern?
Blueberries.
Sweet,
Yeah, we have
sweet pepper bush?
blueberry, we have
Ferns,
inkberry.
bluestem, blueberry.
Good.
Yeah, so it's a mix of everything, and Marty Shea doesn't like anything planted out like natural, formal, has to be natural, has to
Natural.
be all mixed together.
Good, looks good.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you. Seth, you good with this?
Yeah, I would recommend that the board
Do we
pass
have a,
the revegetation
do you have,
plan.
do you have a resolution?
This one was kind of cut and dry. I do have one, but I didn't do much. Yeah, it was kind of a cut and dry one.
I know, we rarely pass something without
Okay.
a plan, so you want to, are there any conditions in it, or what?
No, it's the standard conditions. The conditions were all work is completed in compliance. In order to get a CC, 4 sets of the final as-built will be submitted to us, and it'll be open for a period of 1 year, and we have to.
Do you have a set
do
of maintenance
site-
bond?
Nope.
No maintenance bond on these?
No, not on this simple.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
Add one condition, actually, that prior to any clearing, it shall be delineated with project
Fence.
limiting fence.
Project limiting fence.
Well, there is no proposed clearing, just revegetation.
Oh, never mind, that's ridiculous.
Okay, then
Sorry.
take it away. Is
Sorry.
everybody comfortable with that, with those words? Okay? All right,
Okay?
motion to, we'll trust your,
Yes. I will keep that in mind next time. I
Yeah.
didn't change anything but the address and this, and the.
But we,
but
it's
you would
important
like
for
to-
us.
Of course,
It's important for
understood.
us.
I'm learning as we go here as well.
Motion by George, second by Tom, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Thank you.
very much. Very good, thanks for
Seth,
coming
go
in.
right into
Yeah, we'll just launch into the next one.
Roscoe Heights.
Shall we do Roscoe Heights next? Okay, this I do, let's see.
Go back to
Actually,
20.
Yeah,
Rolling Hills, right?
Rolling Hills, lot 2 is.
Rolling Hills or Roscoe? You
Well,
name
do
it.
21, you might as well go back.
Yeah, go back,
Okay.
start from here.
So we should have Michael Candenoff,
Oh, yeah,
perhaps,
21.
the applicant on Zoom. Okay.
Do you have applica, do you have?
That's a lot of clearance. Maybe.
Very close.
Two copies.
Hi, guys.
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay, so
Jackie, you want to pass that down to somebody?
this is lot number 70,
That's 2.
Rolling Hills, Section 2, which is a 1967 subdivision. We're focusing on 26 Breezy in Noyak. It's R40. This lot is 21,711 square feet. It is permitted by 33067, 60%. It's hard to tell from the aerial, but this property is on the side of a hill. So that is a large retaining wall there to the south. It is constrained property because of the fact that there was significant grade. The applicant was mindful that there was an APOD restriction and had done his building and had gone ahead and started to revegetate the site. He was also cognizant that there were natives, so the site was revegetated without our approval to a certain extent, at which point a survey was submitted that showed it was pretty much in compliance. It had missed by about a percentage out of the 60%. So it was flagged, shown to me, at which point I went out, made a site inspection. I was happy to see that effort had been made, but if you looked at it in terms of what had been disturbed, it was more like a 30% with a 10% natural existing down there. So we went
There's an
about,
awful lot of just open sand.
yeah, at that
time, yeah.
At that time. Yeah, this is the height of building. I mean, we can see the level of disturbance.
Yeah.
So that's what I saw, just like you're saying now. But if you go to the site now, a lot of planting has taken place since then.
Where is it?
26 Breezy is North Sea. It's kind of on your.
No, but I mean, do we have a current aerial?
Yeah, I'll have to. A current
No,
aerial
no,
now.
the one you saying.
Well, this is,
Got a street
that's
view?
nearly 100% cleared, so.
Well, so I had said 10% there on the edge that had not been disturbed. 30% kind of needed to have significant planting, which has taken place. And I had gone there and decided we needed to augment. This was great effort, but we needed a lot more plants. So I do have the version that was updated. We did get 300 blueberries installed and 289 bayberries. He had gone ahead, the applicant, with 13 white pines, 14 white oaks, all of 7 foot and 5 inch caliper. And I also had noticed that no grasses had been put in. So recently he updated his revegetation to show 100 switchgrass and 100 sedgegrass. Again, this would be along like scallop shape around the building. Would you? I can hand out some copies.
I'm not sure if anybody here around here.
And here's the applicant who would be happy to address any further questions.
It's impossible to read.
It's a tough one to read. You can see that they're called out on the sides, the different
Switchgrass,
Yeah.
sedge.
and their quantities. He's been showing me photos of the plantings throughout.
And have you been back
I've
to the
been, I've
site?
been back, yes. It's a tricky situation on the hillsides. I've dealt with it before.
What does Marty recommend for that kind of grade?
I spoke to Marty, and he had recommended a
Grasses?
fern that was not available. So there was a specific fern. I have it in my notes, and I
Mhm.
have it now on my revegetation list.
Right.
If you run into a grading situation, something I approached him about a fast-growing variety that can stabilize a regraded area.
Does he know that that fern is not available?
No, I mean, I hadn't gotten back to him.
You know, we do a lot
But
of
it's
grasses
only-
when this happens.
Grasses
That's what I ended
usually.
up
You could see, Jack, if you look in here, I mean, every single one of these properties is built with retaining walls as well.
To hold out.
And what happens is when it gets to the building department, they show the clearing, if the property's wooded, they show the clearing complies, that's good, that's what it shows. But with a lot of these properties, rolling hills, there's a few in Middle Line Highway, once they start going in there and they try to deal with these slopes, I dealt with a major one maybe a year ago, and you have to put in retaining walls, I mean, it starts messing up everything.
The
Because you can't
equipment-
limit it to the retaining wall, you have to do around it, and then all of a sudden, you need more area for the retaining wall, and then this becomes, you know.
So here's a suggestion that I have. Let's deal with this, get a vote on it.
Yeah.
We have very little left.
Yeah.
We have an extension.
I have one more.
And a signature. But
One for my house.
what I'd like to do is, since you're a re-veg person and Anthony and we have three people here. Kate has submitted some interesting information about clearing, APOD, et cetera, that we'll take up with Janice. But let's spend 5 minutes talking about it, because these are people who are dealing with it all the time.
Well, I think I want to just call out something that you said, Seth, and that, sure, they may have made an effort, but I mean, the lot is completely clear. They made an effort to revegetate, but that's not the intent of the law, is not to take away and then put back. And you're aware of that. I'm speaking to the applicant.
Okay, well, maybe we should just take a vote on this and then just have a general conversation. That's what I'm
Sure,
talking about. Yeah. Because I don't want he doesn't need to be involved in this.
Sure.
It's just wherever it takes for me to get through some of the stuff that's always just extreme. The rest on this, I'll do whatever I need to comply. I keep my plans more than whatever stuff required me to do, I did.
Going the extra mile.
It's the clearing of the lot just got away from us. I didn't expect this whatsoever. And whatever you guys could be gracious on this for me, I really appreciate it.
The more the better.
So,
We'll leave it up to you.
So are they now in compliance?
Yeah, they're literally their survey, the survey that I decided was inaccurate, was showing them in compliance the last time I looked at it, so.
Okay.
I've gone in, I've added 200 to 300 more plants, and I believe that this is
the best
we're gonna get for this site.
Okay, so we'll hold Kate till we get rid of this, okay?
Sure.
Motion, is everybody satisfied? Motion by Tom, second by George, all in favor. Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Thank you. Don't go away, Seth.
Thank you.
No, I'm gonna hang
Okay.
out.
No,
I do
you
have
have one more.
a minor alteration to the resolution. For Roscoe Heights, I did put in a condition. I believe Daphne Vaughn, the representative, is on Zoom. Or not, she said she was.
This is an additional, this is a change or correction or what? What's the?
I was adding a condition.
It's a revegetation.
It's a revegetation as well.
Number 24.
Roscoe Heights, 32 West Trail Road, North Sea. Yes?
Right?
She's not on.
She's not on. Okay,
We'll deal with it then.
I can handle it. So, yes, 32 West Trail, North Sea, in the CR 200 zone. allowed 50% clearing, has, according to the survey, 55.7 clearance. They have, Surfside Environmental has submitted a revegetation plan for the 3,390 square feet overage. I have looked at this said plan, and I noticed on the front of the survey, it says disturbed underbrush in the area of non-disturbed. So I told the applicant I had not seen that one little note that we need to rectify that situation up front. I had been out to the site, I measured out by foot, it was about 60 by 25 where we have pines and oak, where it was just moss underneath, and they, I guess, had kind of cleaned it up on their own. So I had asked her to please, as a condition of our approval, to also add the understory revegetation to that area so that we can also rectify that disturbance of the front area for 15, it's about, excuse me, 1,500 square feet. So I put that in there as a condition of your approval. Otherwise, we're looking at 3,390 of revegetation. The proposed species assortment would be red oak, scarlet oak, and white oak, all of which would be the 2 to 3.5 inch caliper. Then we followed by an understory composed of inkberry, maple leaf viburnum, black chokeberry, and blueberry. So it was befitting the area, and I saw no reason to hold it up. I thought this would be good for the planning board to look at, if you were okay with that condition to the front, adding more understory to the front.
Yeah. Any questions on this?
No.
Any questions? Nobody there. Okay, so we can have a motion to approve this? Motion by Gloria and second by Kate.
Tom raised his hand.
Or Kate.
All in favor? Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Anthony, you have a Dime Community Bank sign.
Yep. Everyone knows this building, the corner of Snake Hollow and Montauk Highway in Bridgehampton. I think it's a Farrell building now, actually, an office building.
Yes, it is.
So there's a Dime savings bank in there, and I don't actually know where this sign is, but they're there before the zoning board now for a sign over the door entrance, and I'll show it's very, very small. And they're there before the zoning board because you can't have, the code doesn't allow signs facing the parking lots, but that's where the entrances are to these. So there's no size issues. It's just because it's facing the parking lot, so you can see it's just a sign over the door.
Yeah,
in the
I was
Dime.
just there today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does have to go to landmarks because it's in the Bull's Head Historic District, so we are sending it to them. But I don't know if the planning board had any referral comments to the zoning board. My comments would be the planning board didn't identify any issues with this.
I mean, I just
Okay.
saw a
I
letter
was just
from
there.
the CAC, and I don't know whether it was to us or in the paper about that building and the 11 signs. They're oversigned everywhere on that building.
Yeah, I mean, and I you know,
That's Farrell.
and we are aware, the zoning board raised the questions, before this applicant, which we didn't obviously, so we are aware of them.
Okay.
We're trying to figure.
Yeah, okay. And I'm not sure where I saw the letter.
Yes. So the resolution is just to adopt the referral comments to the ZBA, no
Okay.
planning issues.
A motion, George, second by Tom, all in favor. Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. And then the last is you have an extension, Prina.
I do have an extension, I wrote it up as a 90-day extension, but I think Kevin from Rachel Davy Law might be on there. Wanted to ask the board for, I think, more time than the typical 90 days.
We can do it twice, right? Anthony, we could do an extension.
Yeah, I mean, we
They, so part of it was approved in June of '24, and they had their 6 months. This would be their second extension. They were having issues getting a pre-existing CO because of the age of these things now. You have to get affidavits from someone living and testimony or whatever, or an affidavit rather. And so I think it took some time to get to that, and then they've been in with the building department and they need that to secure their approval from counties, so I just don't know if Rachel.
So what's the maximum?
You know, you could do, I mean, I've done it before. You know, if you do a 90-day extension, the applicant's saying, I'm not gonna be able to do this within 90 days. I wouldn't do more than, you know, 2 90-day extensions, but I don't have any issues with
With
2
two
90
days,
But
yeah.
he's already had an extension.
They've
Yeah,
had
I
one
mean-
extension, this would be the second one. so
One
this would be-
90-day extension. But when we do approvals, it's very, very common for these that get extended over a year on a lot line change in particular, because they got to go and get health department approval after you've given them the approval, and that is a big holdup as well. So,
So let's approve a 90-day
For 100
extension
so
on this.
108 oh, a 90 day. Okay.
Yeah, they've had one, this is a second, but
Maybe need more time, they can.
they can come back quickly for an extension.
she wants to chime in. Hold on.
Oh, are they? Oh, there they are.
Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. The attorney for the petitioner, Rachel Davey, of Davey Law, 220 Main Street, Center Marches, New York 11934. I just wanted to ask for a courtesy of 180 days. I'm sorry, I was in a meeting, so not sure if this was already said, but part of the condition for the approval for the lot line modification is that my clients obtain a certificate of existing use, which we have scheduled the inspections. Those took place, their inspections had to go back one time, and that is in before the town building department right now for consideration. We're advised that that process is to take 4 to 6 weeks. And that just really, I think, went in within the last week or so. So I would like the courtesy of 180 days, being that the town is gonna take at least 45 days to process that application. And I still have to go back to the health department once I have that CEU and complete other things that are dependent on that CEU being issued first.
Well, we typically give 90-day extension, you've already had one, but you can easily come back after another 90-day extension and get another extension if you're still in. But we don't.
Of course, it's just that my client has to pay for the extension, and right now it's in the town's hands. I have no control at deadlocks until the town processes the CEU, which I'm told is about 4 to 6 weeks out.
Right. Well, we can do a 90-day and then come back and we'll do another 90-day. But we typically do not do a 180-day extension.
Is there any way to have the extension be waived on the next request under the circumstances? Because the town is going to utilize the majority of that 90-day time, being that the CEU is in condition and it's good.
The planning board can't waive fees for anybody. So, you know, the conditions are what they are. You still got to go to health department, which is going to take you forever. It just is what it is.
They started that process, they're just waiting on the CEU.
Yep.
Is what I meant by.
Yeah, the planning board can't waive fees. They have no ability to do that.
So we're ready to act on a 90-day extension. That's it, Brenna.
Okay.
Okay, a motion for a 90-day extension by Tom, second by George, all in favor. Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. So you have a 90-day extension, and then whatever happens, you never know what's going to happen.
Thank you, have a nice afternoon.
Thank you.
I did have the resolution, I never had
Okay,
it down.
I think we've done it. So motion to adjourn. George, second by Tom, all in favor. Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. So you can turn off your mic.